thank you for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 1, Episode 19, Provenance.
Laura.
Yes, Joy.
Listen, you're either going to love
I know what you're going to
say. Or you're going to hate me. This is going to be very Bloody Mary.
She's looking evil at me, everyone.
I'm not. I look so innocent.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say to me.
Okay, see, here's the thing. Is it's not actually my fault, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because there's another guest writer this episode, okay? This is not a Crypt Key episode. So, just like before, we find, like, my Easter eggs with Crypt Key are very specific. They're very on point. He uses stuff that's real. He makes it terrifying. It's amazing. We love it, okay? The guest writers, not so much. Like, with the guest writers, my Easter eggs go a little bit like, okay, it's what I can find. So I have found one that you're going to absolutely fucking love. And then a few more that I don't know how you're going to feel about it, because I have found actual real life haunted paintings. That might be like okay. That. Okay, no, she doesn't like that. And I also have haunted dolls.
No.
So
no.
I found a haunted Barbie.
Oh no, my one doll I'm not scared of.
But is she haunted or is she incredibly sweet, actually? Because if she is haunted, there's different parts to this lore. But this one is a good one. So Barbie remains pure, okay? Because she's supposed to give people good luck, and she even has her own little shrine. So, see, this is what I mean. Like, I did try to not be a dick. Like, I've tried to get enough scary stuff that the people who enjoy spooky Easter eggs, which is most people, like I think all of our listeners are like here for the spooky Easter eggs. They're going to be happy. But I had to find things that went with the episode. And because I researched the area and there's like fuck all in the area, the only things that I was left with, I researched the whole like murderous orphan thing. And then I thought, this is one, the wrong time period, and two, I don't think the right thing to focus on. Like, it feels not good, especially as someone who comes from an adopted family line. Like, that did not feel good to me, like, morally. So I was like, well, what am I left with? And it left me with haunted dolls and haunted paintings.
But see, I think that will actually be fun, because I don't mind being scared, and I'll suffer for the podcast. It's all right.
She's a hero. She's a champion. We're going to have to make her a little trophy.
You could talk about them, but if you ever send me one, we're not friends anymore. I don't want a real haunted doll, but you can talk about them.
Noted. Okay, noted. We're gonna do our best to have some spooky fun, but without, permanently traumatizing my co-host, you guys. Simple goals, really. Pushing the envelope so far that she just goes, no, that's the end.
Yeah. This episode, though, I really, really enjoyed this episode, like, so much. It was on a par with Bloody Mary for me, in the sense that it scared me almost as much as that one did, because of the creepy dolls and, like, the creepy kids and the creepy paintings. It was just it hit on a lot of my fears.
Trifecta. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It really hit you hard, huh? I had totally forgotten about this episode. Like, I had no memory of it at all. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. I feel like I've definitely seen it before, but I don't know if I've ever seen the full episode. This might be one of the ones where I was like a student and I got to watch part of it, and then we moved, and then I didn't have American channels anymore, so I couldn't keep watching it for a while. And then I don't know if I ever went back to it. But it was really enjoyable. It's a really, really enjoyable watch. Like, the way that Dean, I don't know if you're going to have the same feeling that I do, because you might have found him super irritating, but the way that he was playing matchmaker this whole episode was so funny to me. I was laughing so hard. I loved it.
I didn't mind it as much this time. He didn't annoy me as much as the one when he was trying to do it with Meg. But yeah, I think I did write in my notes somewhere, is this going to be another horny Dean episode? But it wasn't as bad as the last time. And I
No,
like
this
Sarah.
was
She was cool.
I like her too. This was more like
Yeah.
lighthearted banter. He wasn't gross. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't gross. He wasn't like a frat boy this
No.
episode. It felt more like legitimate actual like Dean's actual character to me. Like I feel like this is true to him. The other episodes,
Yeah. And he was actually being really sweet because he kind of explained to Sam why he'd been doing it, and it was like that whole scene where he's talking about, you know, I think it's to do with Jess. That was actually really sweet, and I have got notes for that scene about that.
I honestly,
so yeah, his heart's in the right place.
I honestly agree with you. I think that his heart is totally in the right place. I think he's actually playing matchmaker. I think he wants Sam to realize that he deserves to be happy. He deserves to have some kind of relationship, and that he could. And it's just sweet brotherly kind of like care, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of touching. There were definitely parts that made me laugh so hard, like snort laugh. There's that one scene where he slides in between them and is like, "Am I interrupting something?" And I almost died, like inhaling my water, but it was worth it. It was worth it. It was great. So like I really rate this really highly. I love it. I will watch it again and again and again and again.
Definitely.
It's so much fun.
I really did like this episode. Yeah.
Do you want to do the synopsis?
Yes. So this is season 1, episode 19, Provenance. The original air date for this episode was April 13th, 2006. Sam and Dean investigate a haunted painting after the owners are killed by having their throats slashed. They soon find out all of the previous owners have succumbed to the same fate. They find the painting at an estate sale of the murdered couple and break in later to steal and burn the painting, but this doesn't work and it gets sold to another person who is then killed too. At this point, Sarah, the auctioneer's daughter, joins them on their investigation, and they notice things in the painting keep changing and moving, including the father. So they assume he is the one killing everyone. They find and burn his remains, then go back to check the painting and bury it. However, when they see the painting this time, the little girl is missing, along with a razor. Sam and Sarah get trapped in the house with the murderous little girl and her creepy doll. Sarah works out that the doll might be the link to the spirit, and Dean finds the doll in the family mausoleum and destroys it, ensuring no one else will ever be killed by the spirit in the painting again.
I wrote so many notes on this first scene.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit actually.
Did you find this first scene particularly scary? Like how did you feel about it?
I thought it set it up for a creepy episode. It was the bit where the husband gets into bed and there's like that squelch. I didn't like that.
That was actually good. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. My only pet peeve with it was I felt like it was trope after trope. Like I predicted every single thing that I thought was going to happen, and it basically played out exactly like how I thought. It's one of those things where like if you're a horror fan, you see each little sequence coming. I do think that the bloody squelch was really good because I wasn't expecting that particular sound effect. And then that did make me go but yeah, I think that it was entertaining, and I think my notes are entertaining. It was fun to watch, but it was just a little bit popcorny, a little bit like summer flick that you kind of like you watch it, but it doesn't necessarily haunt you the way scenes from Bloody Mary, for instance, might haunt you.
Yeah, I don't mind that though. It's kind of got a little bit like Scream does that a bit as well, where you've kind of got really obvious bits, but then also twists that you don't see coming. And this has that because I was convinced it was the dad in the painting the whole time and not the little girl.
Me too.
Yeah.
The plot twist.
So that was
so good. Yeah, that was a great plot twist. I didn't see that coming at all. That was fantastic.
Yeah, so I don't mind a bit of tropiness, if that's a word. So there's a couple putting up a painting they've bought at a charity auction, and the woman says, "Don't you think this is kind of creepy?" And I said, "Yes, I do."
Agreed. Yeah.
People keep saying in this, "Isn't this a bit creepy?" It's like, why do people keep buying it then?
It's always the women. The women always know. Women's intuition, I'm telling you. She looks at it, she's like, doesn't this seem, creepy, a little off to you? And you look,
Yeah.
we're looking at the painting, and it's like this terrifying Victorian era sort of dark painting. The children look like really weird and pale and just not
Yeah.
quite right, and the parents look miserable. And there's weird juxtapositions between items in the painting. Like I think there's a sailing boat or something that the boy is holding, but just
Yeah.
everything about it is so off-putting. So like my hat is off to the painter who painted this for this to be like a prop, because it is
Yeah.
so scary. There's this element of like Whistler's mother sort of like coloring and facial expressions to it.
Yeah.
So it really looks like an actual fucking cursed, haunted painting. So when she's like, "Don't you think it's kind of creepy?" We're all like, "Yeah." Why? Why did you buy this?
No, I don't understand why people kept buying it, because it is like a family portrait that you would have in your own house. Like people have
Yeah.
their own family portraits up. Why would you have a
Yeah.
random family's portrait up? I don't understand.
My assumption, okay, is that it was valued highly, because that's the only thing
Yeah.
that makes any sense to me. The only kind of family portraits that you would ever buy at an auction like that would be something that has a really high art market value, because then it's like an investment, and it's a conversation piece. And he even says, when he's justifying his decision, he says there's a reason why charity auctions have an open bar. So he was drunk and he was like, "This is hilarious. Let's get this fucking creepy painting. I'm gonna buy it. We'll put it up in the living room. It'll be great." And she's just like,
Yeah, they all put it like
why?
they all display it like pride of place in the house. Like, why? Wouldn't you just like hide it in a spare room?
Forget out Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so this woman is saying, "Isn't it a bit creepy?" And then the guy is like, "Don't worry, I'll keep you safe." And I was like, "Will you? Will you know?"
Yeah.
And then we get the kind of the tropiness. So we've got they turn the lights out. The man in the painting moves slightly. That's the first kind of thing that we see. We're like, "Oh no, the painting's definitely haunted." I think the creepy painting stuff has the same vibes as the creepy dolls for me. I don't know what it is. It's that
Is that uncanny
something's just not
valley?
quite right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's
what it is.
people and they're looking at you, but they're not real people, but they feel like they could
Yeah.
have some kind of spirit or some kind of animating force in them. Like
Yeah.
people talk about how the eyes of a painting seem as though they're following them across the room. And it's the same
Yeah.
with the eyes of a doll, isn't it? So like I think that it's our perception that it seems like sometimes there's
Yeah.
something in there that shouldn't be in there, and you just go, for me, because when his eyes start moving and it's all scary, I wrote down, it's giving me Vigo from Ghostbusters. It really is like a super spooky, haunted, cursed painting. I was just like, this is such a Ghostbusters vibe.
It's just really unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're kind of just getting ready to go to bed. He's locking up, she's going upstairs. Oh, the candle blows out. That was quite, again, tropey, but I liked that.
Yeah. I wrote down, of course the candle blows out. Of course.
So then we see the camera. The camera kind of looks as if someone's going up the stairs, but we know it can't be the husband because he's still locking up all the doors. So we know something else is going up the stairs. And then we see him go up the stairs. And then he goes into the bedroom and gets into the bed. And that's when we hear this like squelch as he puts his hand down on the bed. And I was like, ew.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He has no idea. He's like, "Did you spill something?" And I'm like, that is not where this is going. I can guarantee you.
I can't even imagine how that would feel, because you would automatically think lots of other things first, wouldn't you? You'd be like, has a drink been spilled? Or even has like someone wet the bed before you would think about blood being there.
Well, yeah, it's so far outside of the realm of things that especially them, because they were about to get it on. They weren't going to bed to go to sleep. Like they were going to get some. Okay. So his mind is not there at all. And he's just like, "Anne." And then the camera reveals that she's lying on the bed covered in blood, eyes open and staring. And he's like, "Anne, Anne." And he falls backwards on the floor, completely freaking out, as you would. And he's screaming, and we see the terrifying shadow appear as well, very ominous, very looming. So my notes say blood. Yep, that checks out. Because again, I was like, this is what I think is about to happen. And then I wrote down
Yeah.
murder. And then I put, it's pretty scary, but it's a tropey scene, and I called every single thing. And that was just sort of like what I was saying in the preamble, the like at the beginning,
Yeah.
because it was good. It was scary, but it felt kind of predictable to me. And I don't think that that's
Mhm.
necessarily bad. Um,
Yeah.
but I just found it a little bit comical that I was calling every single thing that was happening. I was like, it will be blood, and it was blood. Um, and that he was going to find her there, and he finds her there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, him getting inevitably killed by the shadow creature. I was just like, yeah, that checks out.
So then we cut to the bar, and Dean is getting the girl's number, and Sam is reading the paper, and I wrote, this really sums them up, doesn't it?
I wrote, Dean gets a number again. No surprises. And then I wrote down, wow, she is hot, though. I was like, I changed my mind. I get it. I understand.
Oh, this is how I wrote, is this going to be another Horny Dean episode?
So I started out that way, and then I was just like, same page. Same page. I'm right there. I understand. But then I went, and then I thought you might say that, because we have this scene play out, and there's a part of this scene where I wrote down Dean is giving me the ick.
It's that kind of like bloke trying to be a pickup artist, like trying out different things, like he's pretending to be a reality show scout, and I was just like, that's, How I Met Your Mother, did you ever watch that?
I did. Yeah. Barney.
He's giving Barney. He's and I find him really cringy.
Yeah, I completely agree. So he walks up to Sam like all full of himself, and he's like, I think we need to take a little shore leave. And there's this back and forth, and Sam's trying to talk to him about a case that he's found. And I lean Sam in this scene, okay? Because Sam looks hot. He's researching. You know what I mean? Sam researching is always a thirst trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then he's also really like sarcastic towards Dean, and that's also hot to me. He says, "So what are we today, Dean? I mean, are we rock stars or are we Army Rangers?" And I laugh. And Dean goes, "Reality TV scouts looking for people with special skills. I mean, hey, it's not that far off, right? By the way, she's got a friend over there, possibly hook you up. What do you think?" And he says, "No, I can get my own dates." He's like, "No thanks." And he says, "Yeah, you can, but you don't." And Sam says, "What is that supposed to mean?" And he says, "Nothing. What do you got?" But it clearly does not mean nothing. And then Sam says, "Mark and Ann Teleska of New Paltz, New York, were both found dead in their own home a few days ago. Throats were slit. There were no prints, no murder weapons." And then he's talking, but Dean is distracted because he turns around and he's looking at the girls. He is not listening.
He's not really interested.
Dean. Yeah. No prints, no murder weapons, all doors and windows locked from the inside. And Dean's drinking his beer, and he's like, could just be garden variety murder, it's not our department. But you can see that he just doesn't want to, he just wants to chase tail, okay? And Sam says no, Dad says different. And he's like, what do you mean? And he says, Dad noted 3 murders in the same area of upstate New York. The first one's here in 1912, the second one's right here in 1945, and the third is in 1970. The same MO as the Teleskas. Their throats were slit, doors were locked from the inside. Now, so much time had passed between the murders that nobody checked the pattern except Dad. He kept his eyes peeled for another one. And Dean says, and now we got one. All right, I'm with you. It's worth checking out. We can't pick this up first thing though, right? He's like, anything right now to duck out of this. And Sam goes, yeah. And he heads back to the bar and he's like, good. And Sam goes, Dean. Dean goes, ladies, did you miss me? And so they have this little conversation. And Dean says, I'm just kidding. Listen, I talked to my producer and it's looking good. And she's like, great, cool. And Sam is kind of like laughing in the background, but you can tell that he's laughing at Dean and his antics, not at the girls. Yeah. Because this is the part where I wrote, okay, Sam is 100% scared of his powers and will not put another girl in peril. Because this is clearly why he's not interested. And then I wrote, that's the part where I was like, Dean is giving me the ick, or is it Hollywood? Who can tell? Who can say? The exploitation of girls is nothing new. Um, honestly, I just feel like it is the pickup artist thing. It's the lying and manipulating and preying on
Yeah.
people's dreams and hopes to get laid. Like I think that's
Yeah.
gross. It has
Yeah.
always been gross to me. It doesn't feel like it's just banter. Like, because he's obviously telling him that he has a producer on the hook and that he's going to get them this break, and
Hmm.
they're believing him. So Dean gave me the ick.
Yeah, he does. And so the next scene is the next morning, and they're outside the Teleska house, and
Mhm.
Dean is looking really hungover in the car. He's asleep
As he
in the passenger seat.
deserves.
So yeah,
Karma.
and he's got his sunglasses on, and then Sam comes back and like blasts the horn, which is funny to wake him up.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Dean jumps like a foot in the air. The transcript literally says, um, Dean sleeps slouched in the passenger seat of the Impala, sunglasses on. Sam walks around the car, leans in and honks on the horn. Dean jumps a foot. Sam sits in the driver's seat laughing. And then he's like adjusting his sunglasses and he goes, man, that is so not cool. And we just laughed out loud, honestly, because it's what he deserves.
So Sam says that he's like been around the house with the EMF and it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains that last night, while Dean was out partying, obviously, he's researched the house and the couple and hasn't found anything strange. And then he says that the house is completely empty. And Dean's like, well, where's all their stuff? And then we cut to the auction house.
Yeah.
I've got some interesting things to say just from this like first 5 seconds of this scene. There's
I
some
have
interesting bits.
things to say about a haunted house in this area that I need to tell you about.
Oh, before we go to the auction house. Okay.
Before we go to the auction house, yeah. Can I do that? Okay. So...
No, you're not allowed to.
No! But how will you ever know about the first legally haunted house in the United States?
Legally haunted?
Legally haunted. I shit you not. I'm so excited.
What?
This gave me life. Okay, so basically, there is a place that is a very short drive from where this is actually set. Okay, so they set it in New Paltz, right? And the place that I'm going to tell you about is number 1 Lavetta Place, which is a very short drive from this place. Okay, so let's get into it. So Lavetta Place in Nyack, spelled Nyack. I don't know how else I'm going to say that. It takes the cake, considering that this house is legally haunted. You heard that right. Legally haunted. Residents of the home were violently awakened by the shaking of their beds, and during the day, the sound of footsteps and slamming doors filled the home. To this day, the case of One Lavetta Place is taught in law school and is referred to as, quote, the Ghostbusters ruling. This property has changed hands countless times, which is perhaps due to the ghostly residents. So that's from visitvortex.com. I have the link here for you, but then I found another article which was written by the real estate agent who tried to sell this house and then got taken to court over it. So they say 2 weeks after the contracts were signed, however, the buyers had a change of heart, and the rest, as they say, is history. The case went to court, and while my firm and I were released from the case, the owner/seller was held liable. Ultimately, the case settled out of court, but along the way, New York Supreme Court ruled the home legally haunted. As a result, New York State real estate license law changed for a brief time, requiring the broker to have automatically disclosed if a homeowner said that they had a ghost.
Ah. That's a thing in certain areas or certain states, isn't it? Where you have to declare that, but some you don't. Is that
this
right?
one is the precedent. Yeah. So as
So
far as I understand it, this is the first one. So this was 1991. And now I think the law has shifted in some places where some states I don't think care about it, and then other places they make this argument, which is the argument that was made in this case. So the buyer basically said that haunting aside, they felt that rumors of hauntings could devalue the property value. And therefore,
Mm.
if the owner knew that it was a haunted property and that it was known to be haunted, they have to disclose that at the sale before the down payment's made, because
Yeah.
that could theoretically depreciate the value. It's really interesting the way that it's worded in the article. I've actually put it in my show notes, and I also have the snapshot of the newspaper, and the newspaper tagline says "Court believes in ghosts," and then it has a picture of the haunted house in it. It also talks about all the different things that the original owner said had happened. So there's things like the real estate agent talks about she lit a fire in the hearth before she was going to show it. And the fire, for no reason, leapt out of the fireplace and then caught fire to a lampshade, like across from it, before she could do anything. And she'd never seen anything like it.
Oh.
The previous owner had been featured in, I think, magazines, books, like all kinds of different places, talking about really specific details, these really specific ghosts. And then it has this follow on where several other subsequent owners also talk about it being haunted. So I have a couple of links in the show notes for you guys where you can specifically read about this exact property and all the weird things that have happened there. But I just thought Legally Haunted, the Ghostbusters ruling, it has to go in.
Yeah, that's cool. Right, so now we're at the auction house, yeah?
Yes.
So the first thing, so we see cars parked outside, including the Impala, and there's like fancy cars there. So there's a Ferrari, a Porsche, I think there's a Bentley, and there's a fun fact. One of the cars, which I think was the one that looks like a Bentley, this is from IMDb. One of the cars featured at the auction house has the registration The Crip.
Yeah,
and Eric Kripke is the creator of the show, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
And I did
that
check,
was a fun thing.
And I did see it.
Yeah, I saw it in the first watch through, and then I saw that it was an IMDb, and I was like, Laura's gonna like this one. She's gonna for sure have this one.
That.
The thing is like Baby is a classic car, but to kind of go along with the vibe of what happens in this next scene, Baby, I wrote down she looks like she needs some TLC. Like she looks like she needs a little wash, a little polish.
This is what I was. Yeah.
So you have all these shiny classic cars, and then you have Baby, who is a classic car, but she's a little bit more of a muscle car. And she is filthy currently, and it just makes her look kind of low rent compared to the other cars, which is mean. Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd written down the Impala looks dusty and worn, but it always looks pristine and shiny. So they've obviously done this on purpose to make it look like they're the riffraff in comparison to all the other ones.
The riffraff. Yeah, I love it.
But it's like she's always shiny. She's always like waxed and polished and looking amazing. And in this episode,
this episode not.
And this
so
episode,
much.
she's not. No. So when they go in, everyone is staring at them, and like they're clearly out of place. Like these guys are all really posh, and Sam and Dean have come in, and the guy that speaks to them, who's Daniel Blake, the owner of the auction house, is just really stuck up. Like he won't even shake Sam's hand.
Oh, he looks down on them in their denim and their plaid. Like we have suits and fancy dresses and pearls everywhere, and then you have Sam and Dean who are wearing like stuff bought off the rack at Walmart, and they look entirely out of place. Like, so we have Baby looking kind of messy. We have the boys looking very out of place. You have canapes and champagne and wine floating around. And Dean is, of course, snatching it all up. You know what I mean?
Stuffing his face.
Okay, giving them away. Like, if their outfits didn't give them away, what Dean is doing is giving them away anyway.
It's so funny because Sam just looks mortified with his behaviour the whole time, and like when he calls him Chuckles, he calls Daniel Chuckles, and Sam just he just looks mortified. His brother.
The best thing is when the auctioneer, like the auction house owner, walks over. He's wearing a suit, and he doesn't totally look like a waiter, but Dean is putting on airs because he's trying to blend, right? And he puts on airs and he says, "I'd like some champagne, please." And Sam looks at Dean. He goes, "He's not a waiter." And Dean cocks an eyebrow. Sam holds out his hand to introduce himself, and he says, "I'm Sam Connors." And I was like, Terminator reference. So the man looks at him, and like looks down his nose at him. So Sam kind of gives up on this handshake and he says, "That's my brother Dean. We're art dealers with Connors Limited." And the man just goes, "You are art dealers?" Like the most amount of disgusted by you normal blue collar poor people that you can picture. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sam goes, "That's right. Sam's not backing down. It's great." And he starts to warm slightly, but like not really. Like Sam does his wildly charming thing, and the man starts to a little bit come down from his high horse, but not totally, right? And he says, "I'm Daniel Blake. This is my auction house. Now, gentlemen, this is a private showing, and I don't remember seeing you on the guest list." And Dean says, "We're there, Chuckles. You just need to take another look." And this waiter's going past, and Dean snatches a glass, and he goes, "Oh, finally." And then the best thing about this is because he's trying to be fancy. He turns back to Blake, sniffs the glass, raises his eyebrows, and then turns and walks away. But he does it in such a way to act as if he knows what he's doing with like fancy alcohol, but it's completely the wrong move. Like what he has just done is the direct opposite of what you would do. So he's just made them look even stupider. And Sam is like, "Oh my fucking God." Like you can see it on his face. Sam is like, "This is hopeless right now."
He's so embarrassed.
He's so embarrassed, but he just says cheers to Blake. I feel like he kind of panicked a little bit. And then they walk around the auction house. They just kind of run away, basically. And then this is where they run into Sarah.
Yeah, because they find the painting, they find the Teleska stuff, find the painting, and then she's at the top of the stairs, isn't she? She says something to them and comes down the stairs, and Dean is just kind of like looking at Sam as if to say like, "Look at her," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's still scoffing food at this point. He's still eating.
Yeah. I mean, she is hot. Okay. She's giving Megan Fox. Like she is gorgeous and she's dressed immaculately. And she walks down the staircase saying, "Fine example of American primitive, wouldn't you say?" And Sam says, "Well, I'd say it's more Grant Wood than Grandma Moses, but you knew that. You just wanted to see if I did." And she says, "Ooh, guilty and clumsy. I apologize. I'm Sarah Blake." And this is where we realize we don't know he's her dad yet, but she is not the snob that her father is. She doesn't judge people based on appearances. Yeah. She realizes that Sam understands art from this little exchange, and she's interested and curious about what's going on. She's not the kind of person to belittle people. And so we start to like be interested because there's banter and it's fun.
In my initial notes, I just wrote, "Sam hearts Sarah."
I wrote, "Sarah and Sam sitting in a tree." Okay, so they introduce each other. So Sam says, "I'm Sam, and this is my brother, Dean." And this is the way he hesitates because Dean is being such a liability. It gave me life. Dean is literally grabbing canapes and just stuffing his face. Like it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And Sarah says, "Dean, can we get you some more mini quiche?" And he's still chewing, but he says, "I'm good, thanks." Because he's trying to be cool. And then they actually start having a conversation. So Sam asks her to tell them about the Teleska estate. And they start exchanging information.
And she's just saying that it's grisly and she doesn't agree with their stuff being sold this early, but her dad insisted. And then Sam asks if he can see the provenances. And then her dad, Daniel, the owner, interrupts and says no, and then kicks them out because he says he's checked the guest list and they're not on it. And Dean, I wrote down, Dean with an attitude says, "Well, we don't have to be told twice." And Daniel says, "Well, apparently you do." Which I thought was funny.
So good. And it's also the look. So Sam's like, "Okay, it's all right. We don't want any trouble. We're going to go." And Dean does this eyebrow raise as if to say, like, "You're all completely wrong and I am the poshest of them all." And it's like sassy and then walks off. And it's amazing. And Sarah tells her dad off for being rude, which fair.
Yeah.
But God, it gave me life. It was so funny.
It was. And then we cut to the motel. Now, me and Joy probably have very differing. We haven't talked about this yet, but I think we have differing opinions about the motel.
I think that we do.
I thought it was amazing. I wrote in my notes, I'm just going to read out what I wrote. I wrote, we have another amazing themed place. I am loving them, although I don't think Joy will agree. And because we had the Western themed one in Hell House. We had the cool bowling one in Something Wicked. And now a disco themed room. And I'm not a disco fan, but I like a themed room. And I have a request. When we do our supernatural road trip, I would like to go to some themed motels, please.
I mean, I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
I think they're a bit naff, but in a good way, in a fun way.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of my friend's wife has this obsession with taking her to like terrible restaurants. Like she finds it endlessly amusing to take her wife to terrible restaurants where they borderline will get food poisoning. She goes online and she finds the most dramatic, horrific reviews because to her, it's like watching a soap opera. And the food is like a soap opera too. So she looks on like, I don't know if it's Google Maps or what she's doing, but she sent some of them to me and I did laugh for about half an hour. But the result of this is my friend messaging me being like, I feel like she's gonna kill us. I think we might actually die. Like it's not worth it. It's like the humor is not worth the upset stomach. What are we doing?
No.
And the whole themed motel, it's not that diabolical, but I feel like it gives me a little bit of that. I feel like we'll have to do a scrapbook, and my half is just going to be like absolutely slating it, and Laura's going to be like, "That's cute. I like this." I wrote down, okay, this Saturday Night Fever motel, and then I put for like a page. And then I was like, should we do a new TripAdvisor? Because I was just like, this is ridiculous. There's like, it's every pattern that could possibly pattern is there in monochrome. Mm-hmm. The bed sheets have this like, I don't know, fleur-de-lis looking sort of situation. And then you have an actual disco ball decor, like with real
like
disco balls. You have a different pattern. I think there's a different pattern on the floor and the walls. The walls
there's like squares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have squares and then you have like circles on the wallpaper, I think, or something. I can't remember. It was like disco balls again. And I was dying because like it gives me sensory overwhelm. Just the number of things. It wasn't awful. Like I prefer it over the cows' heads from the last one that looked like they've seen the worst things ever that humanity has ever done and they're haunted. It wasn't that bad because it's in black and white at least. So like it's not assaulting my senses from every angle. But we did different takes.
Did you happen to catch the name of the hotel?
It's like Boogie something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Boogie Inn.
Oh, you guys also. Americans say boogie. British people say like boogie. How do you say it? It's weird.
Boogie.
Boogie, yeah.
It depends on how I'm saying it. Yeah, boogie. Boogie.
Yeah, all the Brits say it that way. And it is endless entertainment to me. I bet we sound weird to them too. But like, you know when somebody says a word completely alien to you and you just go, no, say that again.
But I thought it was funny when they turn up because the disco music starts playing as they walk in the room.
I wasn't expecting the music. Like I was not expecting the music. And then also on the you know where you have the door hangers in hotels. Whoops. And my water bottle just fell over spontaneously, guys. It's fine. The door hangers that you have on hotels has like the Saturday Night Fever guy on it.
Yeah.
Doing the arm motion, pointing. It's so crazy.
The do not disturb sign.
Yeah. And then there's another in unison moment, isn't there?
Uh-huh.
Because they go, oh.
I think they go, huh. They're like, huh.
So
and then they just carry on with their conversation.
Here's the thing is, I heard it as oh, but you and the transcript heard it as huh. So, both are funny. I love it anytime they're in unison. It
Yeah,
was
that's good.
amazing.
So I feel like they stay in so many motels that they've just seen it all. So this assault of the senses doesn't really bother them at all. It doesn't really faze them, and they're just like, huh. Anyway, and then carry on their conversation. And so Dean is asking Sam what a providence is, and Sam corrects him and says provenance, and explains it's a certificate of origin for art, and that they can use them to track the history of the pieces and see if anything's got a freaky past. I liked how he said freaky past. That was funny.
That was really good.
And then Dean says that Sam can find out via Sarah, as he was the one that she was checking out. I think what he actually says is, it wasn't my butt she was checking out.
Yeah, that is literally the line. And then they give each other this look, and Sam says, in other words, you want me to use her to get information. And Dean says, sometimes you got to take one for the team. Call her.
Yeah, like literally hands him the phone.
Yeah. But he doesn't mean it like that, because we know that he thinks that she's cool. And he's trying to kind of like get a little something going here, which becomes more and more obvious as we go on, and it gets great. It's amazing. It gives me life. I love the banter between the three of them this whole episode. You have Dean being this kind of like perky third wheel / like a weird cupid, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So we cut to a fancy restaurant, and Sam and Sarah are at a table. So he's obviously called her and asked her out on a date. And Sam just looks completely out of his comfort zone because he's handed a wine list and he just kind of stares at it. And Sarah senses that he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And so she's just like, I'll have a beer to kind of save him.
The waiter's also giving him these really snarky looks because Sam looks like he's drowning in this wine list, and the waiter is looking at him like, ugh, who let you in? So Sarah is just like, you know what? I'll just get a beer. And Sam is so relieved. And he's just like, yeah, me too. And it's pretty adorable. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I just wrote down, Sarah is perfect. And then I drew a little heart.
Yeah. Because she's not as snobby, like you said, as her dad and all the people around her in her life.
Yep. Totally different vibe. And it's really nice. And I love the conversation that they have. I think it's really nice, the banter kind of. It's easy and it's fun and it's charming.
Yeah. Because they're just kind of like talking about where they went to college and jobs and things like that, aren't they?
Yeah. They're just getting to know each other. So
yeah.
They open up to each other and they talk a little bit more about themselves and kind of touch on stuff. So Sam says, what did you mean when you say you haven't been on a date in a while? Are you trying to make me feel like I'm not such a loser? And Sarah says, I'm sure you're many things, Sam. I'm also sure loser isn't one of them. And it's really cute. And then she says, it was my mom. She died about a year ago. Totally unexpected. It really threw me. I went into the shell, a nice, warm, safe shell. But lately I've been thinking it's not what she would have wanted for me. So, and then they quietly like have this conversation, just looking at each other, kind of like, you know, those silent moments where you look at somebody else and there's this exchange of thoughts, but nothing's being said out loud. And we know that Sam totally understands where she's coming from. And I think we as an audience, if we have ever had an experience, we're just silently really relating to her and understanding where she's coming from, because it's so hard after you've been through something. It can be really hard to leave your comfort zone again. I think that's quite a relatable feeling. So it's a really cute scene.
I literally have written in my notes that Sarah says she basically like hermited herself away, and I wrote, I understand that. Yeah. And then it parallels Sam's experience after Jess died, so they have that in common. Which he doesn't tell her yet, but he does open up about that later in the episode.
He does. Yeah, it's really nice to see him actually talking about his feelings, because even though he's a little bit more emotionally literate than his brother, he also keeps so much bottled up. Like, I think he feels so much and he squashes a lot of it down, and he doesn't talk about it, even to Dean. It's really good to see him opening up to someone. There's
Yeah.
also this other line where they're talking and they're getting to know each other, and she's opened up to him, and he's kind of like, oh, I can vibe with this girl. And Sarah says, so what about you? You're a reasonably attractive guy. And Sam's laughing and he says, reasonably? It's so great. I love it. Oh. So then Sam kind of says that it's a long well, his face says that it's something he doesn't want to get into, and she reads him and she says another long story for another time, and he nods, and we just get that they're on the same page, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we go back to the motel room, and Dean is sharpening his knife on this pocket fold out like whetstone. That was okay. Yeah. But there's a part in this scene where he's reading the research notes. I just wrote down Dean reading burger notes equals thirst trap. They're talking about the provenances in this scene. And he keeps saying providences. And Sam keeps correcting him, being like, provenances. Dean goes, provenance? Sam really struggles with the word. It's really cute. And Sam's like, yes. We went back to her place. I got a copy of the papers. And Dean goes, and? And he goes, and nothing. That's it. I left. And Dean goes, you didn't have to con her or do any special favors or anything like that. And Sam's like, Dean, would you get your mind out of the gutter, please? And Dean's laughing. And he says, you know, when this whole thing is done, we could stick around for a little bit. And Sam's like, why? And Dean says, so you could take her out again. It's obvious that you're into her. Even I could see that. And Sam changes the subject and says, hey, I think I've got something. And so Dean's reading, and he says, portrait of Isaiah Merchant's family, painted in 1910. And this is what I wrote down. You know, for him reading burner notes is sexy.
Yeah.
Because that's what mentally stable people think. So then Sam says, now compare the names of the owners with Dad's journal. And Dean says, first purchase in 1912, Peter Sims murdered in 1912. Same thing in 1945. Oh, same thing in 1970. So then Sam's like, and then it was stored until it was donated to a charity auction last month where the Telescas bought it. So what do you think? It's haunted or cursed? And Dean gets up and says, either way, it's toast.
Yeah. So they've basically found out that everyone who's owned the portrait has then been murdered.
Yep. And I thought that was awesome. And this feels like the perfect place to talk to you about haunted portraits and paintings. Because I went out and I found them. I found the real ones. Okay.
Can't wait.
So I found a whole Wikipedia article that is just chock full of this is haunted, this is cursed, this is linked to a serial killer. So here we go. The first one is Portrait of a Lady by Juan Luna. Legend says this undated portrait by Juan Luna, also known as Portrait of a Lady, is one of the artist's wife, Paz Pardo de Tavera. Wow, that was terrible. It's fine. Who Juan Luna murdered. According to the legend, the painting is now possessed by the spirit of Paz, who brings misfortune upon its owners. Past owners have died in car crashes, been forced into bankruptcy, and experienced miscarriage, among other reported sorrows. During the opening night of 1987 exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, the spotlight bulb over the painting spontaneously exploded.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's connected to a killing, and terrible things just continually happened to everyone who had owned it before. And then when people were like, we give up, put it in a museum, the opening night, the bulb exploded over it. Which, you know, kind of dangerous. Shards of glass, not great stuff in bulbs, not really good for you. So it just continues to be really creepy. Then we have the painting called Death and the Child by Edvard Munch. So according to urban legend, a particular 1899 copy of this painting is cursed. Viewers have described the horrified girl's eyes following them as they move and hearing soft rustling sounds, usually attributed to the eponymous mother's bed sheets when near the painting. Previous owners of the painting are said to have described the girl disappearing at times altogether from the canvas.
Oh, disappear like in this episode.
very much like in this episode. So I was like, well, this has to make it into the Easter egg.
Yeah, so it's like they can come out with the painting. Ugh. You'd think out of any of his paintings that were haunted, it would be the Scream one.
You would think, yeah.
But no, it's this one.
No. So this painting is of a child who looks to be like 2 or 3, and then in the background, her mother is on the bed, either dying or dead. It's also
nice.
extremely creepy. And I can see why, looking at it, I have included pictures of these in the notes.
Why, Joy? Why have you put pictures of haunted paintings in your show notes?
To make it cursed. No, because people are going to want to see, for reference, what they look like.
No, we don't.
That's why.
No, we don't. No one wants to see.
Laura's just like, what the hell? Okay. Spooky, but I think less terrifying, is Bill Stoneham's 1972 painting called The Hands Resist Him. So characters from the painting, the people in the painting, are said to move or leave the painting completely during the night.
Ew.
It's on display at the Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids in Michigan, if you want to add that to the haunted road trip, but I'm guessing you're going to say no.
No.
Be like night at the museum, but with a cursed painting. Okay. So now we get really scary. A signed 1990 self-portrait by the serial killer John Wayne Gacy depicted his alter ego, Pogo the Clown.
Oh no.
Musician Nikki Stone.
I've heard of this one. I don't like it.
Oh dear. Musician Nikki Stone purchased the painting for $3,000 in 2001, but began to regret the purchase when his dog died and his mother got cancer, which he attributed to the malicious influence of the painting. A friend offered to keep the painting, and soon after, the friend's neighbor was killed in a car crash. A second friend then took it in for storage and later attempted suicide. The painting was never hung up and was given to a local art dealer.
No, and he painted it himself, didn't he? And it's like,
yeah.
No, I wouldn't want
with stuff like that too.
By a serial killer.
No. I always question also, like, if there's browns in that painting, are they blood?
Yeah.
Because they do weird shit like that. Like, I would never want something like
psycho,
that.
So you might. Yeah.
Exactly. There's probably DNA evidence in that fucking painting.
No. I don't like the I'm a true crime fan, but I don't like the whole serial killer memorabilia side of things. I think that's just weird.
Yeah, I feel like that's focusing very much on the wrong direction, personally. Like, that's such a weird thing to want to collect.
Definitely.
So, Svetlana Telets, an artist from Vinnytsia, I'm guessing at that pronunciation, guys, I'm trying, painted The Rain Woman in 1996 after reportedly feeling like she was constantly being watched for 6 months. According to the artist, she was sitting in front of a blank canvas, when a clear vision of the final painting appeared to her. Feeling like someone was controlling her hand, she sketched the entire composition for 5 hours and then spent another month refining the details. After displaying it in a local art salon, multiple people successively bought the painting, only to return it to the seller after describing a figure following them in their homes and dreams. Yeah.
Whatever it was has created a portal.
Yep.
For itself to go through.
Yep. So then a priest was asked to examine it and talk about what he believed was happening. And he says, a person has a spirit and a soul. There are truly spiritual works of art and there are soulful ones. And the painting you are talking about represents just such soulful art. And if it doesn't come from God, the artist puts into the work the mood in which he or she was in at the time of creation, and it is not known who led the artist at that moment. So he basically implies that something demonic came through and is possessing the painting, and then whoever is owning the painting is being kind of messed with by whatever it is that's coming through. So that is quite a haunted, possibly cursed painting. And those are my haunted / cursed paintings for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that spooky Easter egg.
That was actually fun, but scary.
Laura's like hunched over, like curled in.
I need my pillow.
Like, yeah. It's like when you read really good scary stories to your friend at a sleepover. It's that posture, you guys.
So in the next scene, they're breaking into the auction house And it's a very cinematic scene.
It
they're
is.
jumping over the fence. There's like mist everywhere. The lights are shining.
There's rock
like
music
towards the camera.
Yeah.
We've got some more stuntmen jumping over.
Oh, Jesus. Nick just walked by. My door is open. We were just talking about haunted cursed art. I just jumped like a foot in my chair.
It's like a shadow figure in the background.
Yeah, just and he's 6'4", so he's like a very tall shadow, like a giant shadow figure. Like he takes up the whole frame of the doorway. And for a second, my brain didn't process that, so I was looking at the perspective of this giant fucking tall dark man wearing like from the corner of my eye, all black, walking by. I was like, whoa. Jesus. Okay. So as I was going to say before, I was so rudely haunted by my husband. I wrote down in my notes, breaking and entering is sexy, and then I underlined it. I was like, this. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of the rock music. I'm a big fan of breaking and entering because it's just hot the way that they do it. So Sam has gloves on and he's disarming the security alarm, and Dean's picking the lot. Like they both have their own special things, and it's kind of like some scenes from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like it just has that very like action movie feeling to it, and they look hot as fuck. It's all a thirst trap.
It was cool when they went in as well because it was a cool shot from above, and like their torchlights are kind of crisscrossing over each other as they go through the building.
I like how you're giving actual cinematic notes, and I'm just like, it was hot.
Well, it reminded me of that scene Bloody Mary when they go into the shop with all the mirrors.
Yes.
And that was creepy. So
yeah, that's a really good comparison. I like that. Because it's dark and it's nighttime, and they are going into this incredibly fancy auction house with just their flashlights. So you get that same kind of glamorous setting and backdrop against just the light of the flashlight. It is a lot like Bloody Mary.
Yeah. So then they find the painting and they cut it out the frame, and then they leave. And then we cut to a scene where they're burning it outside somewhere. And then it cuts back to the auction house, and the painting is regenerating. It's like just completely regenerating in front of our eyes. And I was like, nope, I don't like this.
I write down, ooh, it's indestructible. Plot twist. I really like that too, because I was thinking before, remember with the opening scene, I was like, oh, it feels a little bit tropey. It feels a little bit predictable. It's literally just the opening scene though. Like everything else, and even that isn't bad. It has good gore, okay? But there are plot twists in this episode that you really don't see coming, and they're genuinely creepy. So like this is where I just start to get really excited.
Yeah. So then the next morning, Dean says he can't find his wallet. So they have to go back to the auction house and they're kind of literally rummaging around in all of the antiques. They're rummaging.
Yep.
And Sam's berating Dean for losing his wallet. And then Sarah turns up. And Sam says they've come to say goodbye as they're leaving. And Dean's like, no, we're not. And he gets his wallet out of his pocket. So he was lying about losing his wallet in the first place. And he gives him $20 that he says he owes them. And it was all just a ploy to get them together.
I loved it so much. So there's one section where he looks amazing. He's in the backdrop, and I wrote down Dean with the casual lean because he's leaning against something, and he looks just you see his face and you know that it was all a plot. And I wrote down, ooh, it was a trap. And Sam's face is a fucking picture. And then because I'm a nerd and I like puns, I wrote down, or a portrait. A
haunted one.
A haunted portrait. Yeah, but I was just like, this was top tier fucking plotting because I believed him. We all believed him. We were all like, oh no, how could you do that, Dean? But you're so much better than this. What the fuck, bro? And then it turns out it was all just a trap. He parent trapped them to make them go on another date.
Yeah. So then Sam and Sarah talking. Sarah's saying she had a good time last night and maybe they should do it again. And Sam looks like he wants to, but he also knows that he's going to have to let her down. So he says that they're really leaving. And then someone walks past with the painting, and Sam is like, oh my God! Really loud.
It's amazing!
And then he gets really weird about it because he's like saying that the painting looks really good and asking what she knows about it.
It's because he's saying, he goes, "Oh my God." So obviously she looks at him like, what is happening here? Like she
what?
has no idea. He's like, fuck, how is this thing back? And then he's like, "Oh, it looks so good." And she's like, if you can call that monstrosity good, then yeah, I guess. And he's trying to be casual and get information. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny.
He's like, "What do you know about it?" And she says, "Not much, just that it creeps me out." And I was like, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah, all of us are on the same page.
Yeah, and he's telling her she can't sell it. There's like a sense of urgency here. He's like, you can't sell it." He's very flustered, and I just it probably freaked her out, to be honest.
Yeah. She's like, "Why? Don't tell me that you're interested in that." And he's like, no, God, no, not in buying it. No, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta take care of something, but I'll call you back. I will call you. I'll see you later. And he's like, he's losing it, and it's amazing. It's like the most Mr. Bean stumbling, comically hilarious Sam that we've seen up to this point. It's great. And Sarah's like, "Wait, so you're not leaving tonight?" And you could tell how excited she is because she really wants to see him again, even if he's into this creepy painting. And he's like, "No, I guess not. I'll see you." And again, so awkward. And then she's like, "Okay."
Yeah, like, right. This guy's weird.
It's one of those ones where it's like, you're really attracted to them, but you also are finding them strange at the time, but it's not outweighing your attraction. You're just like, "Oh, what's happening here?"
Isn't there's a bit later on as well where she's like, "The guys I date," or something? Like, what the hell?
She does say that. She does. It's perfect. Oh, I love it. I love it.
This next bit in the car is really funny. Do you want to read this out? Because it's
Sure.
hilarious.
Yeah, so we're in the Impala, and Sam says, "I don't understand, Dean. We burned the damn thing." And Dean says, "Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. All right, we just need to figure out another way to get rid of it. Any ideas?" And Sam says, "Okay, all right. Well, in almost all the lore about haunted paintings, it's always the painting's subject that haunts them." And Dean says, "Yeah, so we just need to figure out everything there is to know about that creepy-ass family and that creepy-ass painting. What were their names again?"
Yeah, that was funny. And then
Yeah,
they
I
go
love
to,
it.
is it a library or a bookshop?
It's a secondhand
Because
bookshop.
I've written in my notes. Oh, see, I wrote in my notes that it was a library, and I wrote the librarian is funny, but so the bookshop owner is funny. He's really excited
He's
about
great.
the research.
He's
And
clearly
he
a
asked them if
history
they're
nerd.
crime buffs.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote down that he would totally have a true crime podcast these days, and it's also how I imagine Sam might be when he's older.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I have nothing to dispute with that.
Just maybe a bit more eccentric than Sam would be, but yeah, that's the vibe.
Yeah. I agree. So here they find out that the dad killed the family. So he holds up this article and it says, "Father slaughters family, kills himself." And Dean's like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." And Sam goes, "The whole family was killed?" And the proprietor says, "It seems this Isaiah, he slit his kid's throat, then his wife, then himself. Now he was a barber by trade, so he used a straight razor." And Sam says, "Why did he do it?" And the proprietor says, "Let's look. People who knew him described Isaiah as having a stern and harsh temperament, controlled his family with an iron fist. The wife, 2 sons, adopted daughter." And he sort of skims and he says, yeah. "There were whispers that the wife was going to take the kids and leave," which, of course, in that day and age. So instead, old man Isaiah, he give them all a shave. And then he does the cutthroat motion, making the noises and everything. And then he's laughing. And Dean joins in, but then he stops when... Supernatural Wiki, I fucking love you. It says, quote, "Dean joins in, but stops when Sam gives him bitch face."
I'm getting a bit sick of the whole bitch face thing myself. It's like, come up with a new phrase.
At this point, it feels a little bit like a personal attack. Like, I'm reading it out because it's making me laugh, but he does not. He gives them a justifiably, like, people were murdered. Maybe let's not turn this into a tacky joke moment kind of a face, which...
It's clearly a thing that they said once and it kind of stuck, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. So Dean asks, does it say what happened to all the bodies? And the proprietor says just that they were all cremated. And Sam says, were there anything else? And the proprietor says, yeah, actually, I found a picture of the family. It's right here somewhere. Here it is. And it turns out to be a picture of the painting. And Sam says, could we get a copy of this, please? And he says, sure.
Yeah, because that's really important for later, because it is a picture of the painting, but it looks different to the painting now.
Yeah. So we realize that something really weird is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So it cuts back to the auction house, and the painting is being boxed up, so it's clearly being sold again. And Sarah confronts her dad, saying he promised he wouldn't sell it. And he says Evelyn, who they're talking about her by her first name, so it's clearly like a family friend, has offered a lot of money for it. And I just wrote, this guy really has no morals. He's just did it for the money.
Oh, 100%. He has no conscience. He is literally a walking wallet.
No.
Because it's like, if you had a friend and everyone who had ever owned this fucking painting was dead, I feel like you'd be like, maybe not, friend, maybe not for you. But no, he fresh murders, not even cold in their graves, and he's like, yes, friend of mine, please take it and I'll take your money.
Yeah. So in the motel, Sam is telling Dean that the painting has changed because the father looks different. He's moved. He's now looking in a different direction to in the original image. And so they think it's the dad who's haunting the painting and killing people, and the same way he killed his family. And Sam is concerned because the bodies were all cremated, so he doesn't know how they're going to stop him, because normally they would just find and burn the remains, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And Dean says they should see if anything else has changed, as that might give them some clues. So they need to go back and see the painting, like the real life painting, to compare. And he also mentions that Sam can then see Sarah again. And this is where Sam calls him out on everything that he's been saying, like the whole setting him up. And he says, ever since we got here, you've been trying to pimp me out to Sarah. Just back off, all right? And then they have a bit of an argument. And then it gets a bit more serious. And I wrote, Dean is actually being really sweet and understanding about Jessica. And I have got the script bit here, but unless you want to read it.
No, you can go.
I feel like you're better at reading the script bits out. I'm too British to say their American lines.
And I don't mean any disrespect, but I'm sure this is about Jessica, right? Now, I don't know what it's like to lose somebody like that, but I would think that she would want you to be happy. And Sam's quiet and listening. We see tears in his eyes. And Dean says, God forbid, have fun once in a while, wouldn't she? And Sam says, yeah, I know she would. And Sam gives a half smile, and then he sighs. And he says, yeah, you're right. Part of this is about Jessica, but not the main part. And Dean says, so what's it about? And Sam doesn't answer him. And Dean says, yeah, all right. And he lies back and kind of crosses his arm, and he says, well, we still got to go see that painting, which means you still got to call Sarah. So
yeah,
but it is really sweet.
Yeah, because Dean is like, he knows he's been doing it in kind of jokey brother way, but he actually does have Sam's best interest at heart. And Sam, when the bit where it says Sam gives a half smile when he's thinking of Jess, it's so adorable, like how he smiles.
It is super sweet. It's very, very, very sweet, because on the one side we realize that Dean isn't actually being a scumbag. It's not about Sam getting like notches on his belt for him. He just really wants him to know that he could be happy. He wants him to know that Jessica would want him to be happy, and he wants him to feel free and like just let himself be a human being again and experience relationships. And Sam starts to process, oh, Jessica actually would want me to be happy. And I think it starts to help put him on a slightly different path, because from this moment on, he's a little bit less locked down. He's a little bit less tortured. And I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. But there is still something he's hiding from Dean, because the bit where he refuses to answer. And I had a prediction here. I was like, is this something that he's had a premonition about? Because we know he's got powers, although they haven't been addressed for a few episodes now. Although now after watching the whole episode, I think it is just that he is scared to be in a relationship because he doesn't want to put that person at risk.
Yeah.
But I also still do think maybe he has a premonition, because he has been having them we just haven't talked about them for a while.
I think that it's a little bit connected, isn't it, too? Because it's like he doesn't want it to happen again. And he, from his point of view, associates himself having powers with being more dangerous. And so I think anyone in his position would have a certain amount of survivor skill anyway, but his survivor skill is also tainted with the knowledge that he's something different. And does that make him a freak? And does that make him a bad guy down the road? What's going to happen? Because he is a really good person and he really cares about other people. He won't think just about himself and making himself feel better. He's constantly like trying to protect everyone around him. Yeah. So that's that little bit that's held back, but it is really nice in this episode to see him moving forward and breathing a little bit more.
Yeah. So Sam calls Sarah and she tells him that the painting has been sold. And he says he needs the address right now. And we assume from the next scene that she has given him the address because they all turn up at the house. And I was like, is this allowed? Are we allowed to give out addresses? I feel like we had this discussion in Wendigo when we were talking about the ranger giving out the girl's address.
Yeah. But we'll allow it because it moves the plot forward. Yeah, definitely.
So they all turn up at this. There's an exterior of a fancy house, and then we see a woman sitting inside reading by the fire, and the painting is on the wall. Pride of place in her living room, like we discussed before. And she puts her glasses down, and then we see a reflection of the razor in the lenses, like going past. And the camera then zooms in on her head, and it's the angle as if like someone's standing over her. And then she looks up at the camera and then gasps, and then there's a blackout.
Yeah, it's kind of like a jump scare sort of a moment. It's nice and creepy. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So then the Impala roars up and the boys jump out, and Sarah must have gone at the same time as them. Like, she obviously followed them in her car because she jumps out of her car and she runs up and she says, Sam, what's happening? And he says, I told you shouldn't have come. And Dean runs up with Sam together so that they're basically getting to the front door at around the same time. And Dean starts banging on the door saying, hello, is there anyone home? And Sarah says, you said Evelyn might be in danger, but what sort of danger? So that's obviously why she gave him the address, because she thinks that Evelyn could be in danger. So Dean is like, I can't knock this sucker down. I got to pick it, because they get to a point where they're actually trying to break the door down. But she's so wealthy. She has this like crazy reinforced door. And Dean's like, this isn't something we can just kick in. Like, we're going to have to pick the lock. So Dean starts picking the lock and Sam's banging on the windows, which have all these security bars on them. So there's no way to get in through the windows either. And Sarah goes, what are you guys, burglars? And Sam's like, I wish it was that simple. Look, you really should wait in the car. It's for your own good. And Dean gets the door open finally. And Sam like runs with him to go inside. And Sarah says, the hell I will. Evelyn's a friend. And we go, okay, Sarah is a badass. And we love her. So she goes running in after them. And then she starts calling for Evelyn. And Dean goes, Evelyn? And everyone's looking for her. And then as they get into the lounge, we see Evelyn sitting turned sort of half away from them. The painting's also changed again. So Isaiah now looks down at his daughter rather than straight ahead. And Sarah says, Evelyn, it's Sarah Blake. Are you all right? And she reaches out to touch the shoulder. And I had just put, I predict like a head tip, like bleh, gore, slit throat. And so she touches the shoulder and Sam's like, Sarah, don't Sarah. Because Sam also knows what's about to happen. And Evelyn's head goes back and it is so realistic. It's so like just all slashed throat. It's like a good big hand size thing of her head tilting back. So it's almost like we have very nearly headless Nick kind of a moment. Like her head is basically severed. And Sarah's screaming, oh my God, oh my God. So Sam puts his arm around her and shepherds her out of the room. And that's hot because he's protective and sweet.
Yeah, but she's saying, oh my God, because she's looking at the painting and the painting is moving. The guy is looking at them now. It's like the face is turned and it's looking straight at them. And the camera kind of zooms in on it. And that was really scary.
That was really scary. I think I missed that because I was busy writing my notes. I think I must have missed that.
Yeah.
That's epic.
It's like a jump scare because he's like looking at the camera, like directly at the camera. That was creepy.
Yeah, that's scary as fuck.
And then yeah, it is. So then we cut to the motel and Sarah turns up and she's really angry because she's just had to lie to the police saying that she was alone and she found Evelyn, and demands to know what's going on. And they tell her it's the painting and she thinks they're joking. This is where she put, God, the guys I go out with.
Yeah.
Because she thinks that she thinks he's crazy, basically.
Yeah.
And she says she's going with them. And Sam says, no, I don't want you to get hurt. And Dean kind of looks at him because he knows now why Sam has been resisting it, because he knows it's about Jess. And Sarah says that they're probably crazy, but if they aren't, then her and her dad are part of why the Telescas and Evelyn were killed. And this is her badass moment to me. She says, I'm not saying I'm not scared because I'm scared as hell, but I'm not going to run and hide either.
Yeah. And she fucking marches to the door. And it's awesome. So Sarah goes full Sarah Connor. Okay, she's just like full badass. And then she turns around and she goes, so are we going or what? And then she walks out. And Dean goes, Sam. And Sam looks across to where Dean is sitting and Dean points at the door after Sarah and says, marry that girl.
I love that bit.
It's everything. And I wrote down, Dean is A, adorable, B, a great matchmaker, and C, watching his own personal soap opera.
Yeah. That was a really good bit.
Yeah.
So they break into Evelyn's house or the crime scene again and they take the painting down. And Sarah says, aren't you worried that it's going to, kill us? And I was like, yes, Sarah, I am very worried about that.
Yeah.
And then Sam says it only seems to kill at night, so they're okay. And Dean notices the razor is closed in the original picture but open in the painting. And I have a fun fact.
Tell me.
And I listened out for this to check if it was right, because I was like, no, we would have noticed that, but it is there. So there's actually 2 parts from IMDb that I need to read out. So one is from the goofs and one is the trivia. So this is in the goofs. It says, when Sam, Dean and Sarah Blake examine the cursed painting after the second murder, Dean notices the razor has moved and says, Jared, check it out, using the actor Jared Padalecki's real name instead of the character's name. Yeah. And then it's difficult to completely ascertain if Jensen is indeed saying Jared instead of Sam, because Jensen is mumbling a bit. However, in the box set of season 1 and Netflix, both have the subtitles set to Sam, check it out. And then I found elsewhere on IMDb, it says, when looking at the painting together, Dean calls Sam Jared instead of Sam. And he has actually admitted to this on a panel and a convention and said, I think that's supposed to say at a convention, and said that the editing team missed it, so it is in the episode as the final cut.
That's amazing. I have to rewatch that.
I watched back. Yeah, I watched back, and because I was like, no. And he does definitely say it. But
that's
the subtitles
everything.
say Sam.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. That's my favorite fun fact.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, so Dean points out the razor has changed, and Sam points out the painting in the painting has also changed because there's a painting in the background. Yeah. And it's now showing a crypt or a mausoleum. And Dean uses an ashtray as a magnifying glass, which I thought was funny.
I wrote down
to see if you can see the name.
Scooby-Doo mystery.
Yeah.
Painting in a painting, and he has like the magnifying glass going up really close. I was just like, this is full Scooby-Doo mystery. I love it.
Yeah, it was fun. So he's trying to see the name on it, and it says merchant, so they know that it's of the family, and then they go to find the real crypt of the family.
Okay, so this scene, when they're walking up through the graveyard and they're having this conversation, I was like, this feels like a Buffy reference. Because this looks like the most Buffy set scene I have ever seen in my life with this graveyard. Like, did they use the same set? I don't know, but it honestly looks like they might have done. It's great.
And when we see the mausoleum, I was like, it's Spike's house.
Yes! But also, like, the way Sarah walks up, she's giving Buffy vibes. And then the guys on either side of her, it's like they're their own Scooby Gang. And I don't know. It's very Buffy. It's very Buffy. So they're walking up through the graves, and they're talking, and Dean says, this is the 3rd boneyard we've checked. I think this ghost is jerking us around. And that made me laugh. And then he sees the Oh no! Before the bit that I'm about to tell you about, she's like, "Is this what you guys do for a living?" And Sam says, "Not exactly. We don't get paid." And she goes, "Well, mazel tov." She's so like deadpan. I laughed. And then he sees the mausoleum, and they break into it. And there's a whole bunch of nameplates, and then there's urns, and then there are these glass fronted boxes. And Sarah looks in and realizes that one of them has a doll inside. And she's like, okay,
Yeah.
that right there is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, Laura will agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was channeling me there.
100%. And Sam says it was sort of a tradition at the time. Whenever a child died, sometimes they'd preserve the kid's favorite toy in a glass case and put it next to the headstone or the crypt. And then this spooky fucking wind blows in.
All right. That doesn't make it any less creepy, Sam. But thanks for the info.
Yeah. That feels about right. That feels about right. And Dean says, do you notice anything strange here? And Sarah says, where do I start? And so Sam laughs. He cracks up. And Dean says, no, that's not what I mean. Look at the urns. And Sam says, yeah, there are only 4. And Dean says, yeah, a mom and 3 kids. Daddy Dearest isn't here. And Sam says, so where is he? Okay, so we cut to a day scene. They were outside some office buildings, and Sam and Sarah are sitting on a small wall waiting. And Sarah says, so what exactly is your brother doing in there? And Sam says, searching county death certificates, trying to find out what happened to Isaiah's body. So Sarah says, how did he even get in the door? And Sam says, lying and subterfuge mostly. So Sam says, you have an eyelash on your, and then he's trying to explain to her where it is, and she's trying to get it, and he realizes this isn't going to work, and he says, do you mind if I get it? And she says, no. And there's this romantic
This was
moment.
so awkward.
It was so
awkward.
cute. Shut
but
up.
It was cute. It was
so
cute.
Yeah.
It was cute, but it was awkward as well.
He's adorable. So he reaches out and he gets the eyelash off of her face, and he says, okay, I got it. Make a wish. And I wrote down, that's too fucking cute. So Sarah's laughing and she makes a wish and she blows it away, you know. And she says, Sam, can I ask you something? And he says, sure. And she says, I don't mean to be forward, but a girl could wait here forever. Is there something here between us, or am I delusional? And he says, you're not delusional. And Sarah says, but there's a but coming. And he says, I don't think this would be a good idea. And she says, can I ask why? And he said, because I like you. And she's like, wait, you lost me? And they both laugh. And he says, look, it's hard to explain. It's just when people are around me, I don't know, they get hurt. And Sarah says, what do you mean? And Sam says, I mean, like physically hurt with what me and my brother do. It's, and then he sighs. And he says, Sarah, I had a girlfriend and she died. And my mom died too. I don't know. It's like I'm cursed or something. Like death just follows me around. Look, I'm not scared of much, but if I let myself have feelings for anybody. And Sarah really gets him. She really understands him. And she says, you're scared they'd get hurt too. And he looks down and she says, that's very sweet and very archaic. And he's like, what? He looks up and he says, sorry, but his face is all, what the fuck? And Sarah says, look, I'm a big girl, Sam. It's not your job to make decisions for me. There's always a chance of getting hurt. And he says, I'm not talking about a broken heart in a tub of Haagen-Dazs. I'm talking about life and death. And Sarah says, and tomorrow I could get hit by a bus. That's what life is. Look, I know losing somebody you love, it's terrible. You shut yourself off. Believe me, I know. But when you shut out pain, you shut out everything else too. And Sam says, Sarah, you don't understand the pain that I went through. I can't go through it again. I can't. And that part is so beautiful and deep. So the fact that this happens next breaks it up for us, and we laugh so fucking hard because Dean slides in, just like slides in, and says, am I interrupting something? And Sam goes, no. And Sarah goes, not at all. And then he looks between them, he goes, huh, apparently. Like, y'all need to get better at what you're doing. And it's so good.
So when he comes out, he basically just tells them that Isaiah wasn't cremated, so there are remains that they can burn, which is what they then do. So next scene is them burning his remains.
And I just wrote down, I feel like this is not over.
Yeah.
Well, so they're digging the graves, and Sarah's holding the flashlight, and she's like, you guys seem to be uncomfortably comfortable with this. And he's like, well, this isn't exactly the first grave that we've dug. Do you still think that I'm a catch?
Yeah.
And that part's really, really funny. And then I wrote down Dean cracking open the coffin is like really hot. And it shouldn't be, but it really is. Like, he's so sexy breaking dead guys' coffins open. I don't know why. It is what it is.
So they destroy the remains, and then they go back to the house to get the painting, because Sam is saying they're going to have to they're burying the painting just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
And Dean is once again focused more on Sam getting laid than the case. He's trying to put them together again.
Yeah.
So Sarah and Sam go in together, and we can tell from their faces that something's wrong with the painting straight away, because we can't see the painting, we can just see their reaction, and they're like, what? And then it shows us the painting, and the little girl is just gone. She's just not there anymore, and the razor's gone as well. And then we hear a little girl giggling sound, and I was like, no, I don't like it.
I wrote down evil child. Lol, Laura is shitting a brick, I bet.
Yeah, didn't like it. The giggling noise, and then the doors all slam closed as well.
Yeah, it's so creepy. It's so creepy.
Mm-hmm. So the door slammed closed, the front door slammed closed. And then Dean is on one side, because he notices it. Dean's on one side trying to break the door down, and Sam's on the other side. And he calls Dean to try and explain what's going on. And Dean says he's going to try and get them out, but they need to find some salt or some iron to protect them in the meantime.
Yeah.
So Sam's looking for salt. I liked this line. He says, what kind of house doesn't have salt? Low sodium freaks.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And then I had
a question. I had a question for you, because I was like, is the iron thing true? Because they say iron repels evil spirits, but it's got to be pure. And I just wrote, joy? ?
Can confirm, because that is why horseshoes work to repel evil spirits, because they're made out of iron. That's why we think that they're lucky. So there's a link between repelling evil spirits and also repelling the fae that might not be so friendly. So iron is legitimately used like that in folklore. Yeah.
I always thought the horseshoes, it was like just the shape. It was something to do with the shape rather than the material, the metal.
I think it both has to do with old pagan worship of horses and horse-based goddesses, who would have been associated with protection. Then you also have Bridget, who's associated with farriers and smithing and making them. And then there's the fact that it's also iron, which, particularly in English folklore and around here, is specifically put up to keep mischievous fae out, bad witches, bad spirits, like the whole lot, to just do not cross this line. So iron, if we think about it, especially in terms of things like horseshoes, makes total sense.
Yeah. So they're rushing around trying to find anything to protect them, just to save them some time, basically, or buy them some time while Dean's trying to get them out. And all the doors start slamming. I think it's trapping them in the living room at this point. Yeah. And then there's a creepy girl. I just wrote, ew, in my notes. A creepy girl dragging her creepy doll behind her. And she does that sped up walking thing that I don't like as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I really don't like that.
She's scary. It's great. I love it.
Uh-huh. And
Laura's
I wrote, Sarah's channeling me again.
Yeah. I was like, you guys should see Laura's face right now. She's not loving it.
Yeah, because Sarah says, that is just so wrong. And I just wrote, again, I agree. And Sarah's also not a fan of creepy children or dolls.
Yeah. Oh. And Dean calls on the phone, and he says, Sammy, you okay? And I wrote down Sammy, heart. Because every time he calls him Sammy, it's because he's being a protective big brother, and it's fucking adorable. I love it every single time. It never gets old.
No. Oh, Sam's being a human shield again, which is a thirst trap. He tries to protect
every time
Sarah.
It's a thirst trap.
When
100%.
Yeah, because that girl's coming towards them. Oh, and her roar, that was horrible. So Sam tries to kill her. He finds like a fire poker, which must have been iron, and he's like wielding it at her, and she roars, and it was just terrifying because the head was shaking. It was like the head. I don't know how they did it. It was like a digital effect.
Yeah, it's very Exorcist. It's like her head is moving in this really inhuman way, and she makes this demon scream. And it's gross. It's gross. And
Yeah,
I simply did
it
not
was
care for it.
no, it was horrifying. So
Yeah.
Sam swings at her with the poker, and then she disappears into dust. And then I think this is Sam says that her bones are already cremated, so how is she still around? It must be something else. And I was screaming at the TV at this point, it's the doll! It must be the doll.
Yeah.
And then Sarah mentions the dolls, so because she's on the same level as me. Sarah mentions the dolls, and Sam gets a bit snarky with her because he's like, well, that's fascinating, Sarah, but is that important right now? And I was like, yes, Sam, clearly it is.
Yeah.
And she says that dolls were sometimes made to look like the kid, and they even had their hair sometimes. And then hair is human remains, so it clicks.
Yep. And I can confirm that is historically accurate. That is a real thing.
That is horrible. No wonder we have so many haunted antique dolls.
Oh, I can't breathe. Oh, okay.
And people collect them. No. Just no.
Okay.
They all need to be rounded up and destroyed.
Her freakouts just made me laugh so hard. I had to hit my inhaler a little bit because I was low-key getting an asthma attack from laughing. I was getting KO'd by like how her brain. She just like, no, it's wrong. Oh my god.
No, it's horrible. Why?
Oh god. You know what it is though? Is like it's the ye-old equivalent of, you know how now people get those miniatures of like their cat. So like the cat dies and they have a picture of the cat and they send a picture to a felter and the felter makes this adorable life-size doll of their cat so that their kitty never leaves them and it's beautiful and cute. And some of them are made with the pet's actual fur. Because then they'll hug it and it'll be like they have their Laura's shaking her head so hard.
No, I'm
right
sorry.
now.
I think that's creepy as well. I think you're opening yourself up for a haunting. I mean, it's cute. I get why people do it.
Yeah.
Because it can really help with like the grief and stuff. But yeah. I just no.
I think it's one of those things where it's like people have really individual ways of processing grief, and I think for some people, the dolls, especially in a time when they would lose really young kids really frequently because they didn't have the same level of medicine, they wanted to preserve it. And probably for people who could afford something like a portrait or a doll made to really resemble their child, I feel like if the kid's fantastic and healthy, amazing, like then it's this cute doppelganger thing where it's like, oh, you and your little double, you know, and I think it's adorable. And then if the child really sadly
cute and
passes
doppelganger
away,
do not go together, Joy.
Okay. So my point is I can see why a parent would think that it was cute to make this little doll that resembles their little girl. You have this really cute little girl, you think she's a treasure and she's priceless and you love her so much and you think that it's an adorable idea for Christmas to get her a doll that looks like her. Like, I can see how people think that's cute. And I can also see how if they want to make it hyper realistic, they save the kitty haircuts and then bring it to the doll maker, and this is the done thing at the time where you have like a doll that has real hair because kids love shit like that, like something that makes it more real to them. They love it. And I agree. I think this is why we have more haunted dolls, because your hair is in the doll that looks exactly like you, and it would be so easy for a spirit to attach to that. But I can also see why they were a trend, and I can see why people thought it was cute at the time, but it's us looking back at them like hundreds of years later. We process it really differently, and they've become really spooky.
Yeah, I just think it's creepy. Also, I'm fresh off watching Longlegs. I watched Longlegs this week at the cinema, and that is basically like creepy dolls that are no.
She can't, you guys. She cannot even. You should see her right now.
And I know that you've now got a creepy Easter egg about haunted dolls, so go on then, go for it.
Okay, I will. Let's talk about some terrifying dolls. Okay, so this is from All That's Interesting, and we are talking about Annabelle. Since her first...
No! Wait, just tell me now. What other haunted dolls are you talking about? Like real dolls? Because I actually genuinely do get really freaked out when podcasts talk about real dolls because stuff happens.
I have 3. Okay. We have Annabelle, Okiku.
Wait. Okay, hang on. Wait. Does one begin with a P?
No.
Don't say it. Okay.
No.
Okay, because there's a doll that begins with a P, and if people talk about it, it can literally haunt you through podcasts.
Nope. None of that. We have Annabelle. We have Okiku.
Wait, does one begin with an R?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so since her first supposed haunting in 1970, this allegedly evil doll has been blamed for a slew of incidences. And in recent years, the true stories of Annabelle have even inspired some horror films. According to the Warrens, the doll is responsible for 2 near-death experiences, 1 fatal accident, and a string of demonic activities that have lasted some 30 years. The doll originally belonged to a woman named Angie. Angie's boyfriend at the time, known only as Lou, was in the apartment one afternoon while Donna was out and heard a rustling in her room as if someone had broken in. Upon inspection, he found no sign of forced entry but found the Annabelle doll lying face down on the ground. Other versions of the story say he was attacked upon waking up from a nap. Suddenly, he felt a searing pain on his chest and looked down to find bloody claw marks running across it. 2 days later, they had vanished without a trace.
Ew.
Now, to make Laura feel better, I will say that, as far as I'm aware, almost all of the lore about Annabelle comes specifically from Ed and Lorraine Warren. And as we have discussed previously, they were kind of not the most reliable sources. They really want... They're Ed, okay? They want the book and the movie deal. All right? That's what they want. So when it comes to Annabelle, you look at her and she's just this big Raggedy Ann doll. All right? I don't know if I think that there's more going on than just the Warrens being the Warrens, but it's a great spooky story, so she had to make it in. The next one is about Okiku. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. It could be Okiku, but I'm not 100% which way it goes. So, according to modern Japanese folklore, in 1918, a teenager named Eikichi Suzuki purchased a doll from Hokkaido for his younger sister Okiku, who gave the doll her name. When Okiku died, her family came to believe that Okiku's spirit was inhabiting the doll and the hair on the doll was growing. The doll resides in Menaji Temple in Hokkaido, where it is claimed that a priest regularly trims Okiku's still growing hair.
I'm sorry, its hair is growing.
Mm-hmm.
No.
She that is a real life bad if she's living in a temple. We're gonna pause and just let Laura recover for a minute, and then we'll do the last one.
No, just go for it.
Okay. So the last one, I just have in the show notes the image of it because I wanted to show you the haunted.
Oh, great.
Barbie.
Thank you.
Because she's so pretty.
Much.
She's so pretty though. So this image comes from Moon Mausoleum. And she is a Barbie doll that is renowned to be haunted, but she's actually kind of sacred. And I didn't put down the full story in the show notes because I wasn't going to tell the story. I was just going to kind of show you the picture. But because you've been through all of this, I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to summarize it from everything that I read because you're so traumatized. And I think this will make you feel better. So basically, she is supposed to be possessed by the spirit of a German girl who tragically died during World War I. So she was running from British forces and she fell over a cliff and her body was found later. And the local people felt so sorry for her and what had happened to her that they took her to be buried in a really special location. They put her in like an urn and they created a little place for her where people just knew this is where she was buried. And over time, you get a place called the Shrine of the German Girl. And there's a local man who has this dream that he sees this German girl, this foreign girl. I believe this is set in Malaysia, but I'll check and I'll put all the correct references in the show notes for everyone. But he has this dream about this foreign girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, and puts two and two together and realizes that it's the German girl. And she says that she wants this really specific Barbie. And so he goes and he gets it for her. And then he has incredibly good luck. And what starts happening is people start bringing offerings to her spirit and they start getting really good luck. So, like, this particular Barbie remains holy because she's connected to a spirit that bestows blessings and good luck and like really nice things. There's nothing bad or creepy with this one. There's even an argument to say that it might be that the German girl's ghost story is potentially inaccurate, and there are sources that argue with each other over it. So some people say this is the thing. Other people say that they think that it's a piece of local lore that was subsumed because of colonialism and then it's kind of risen up in a different form. But nothing bad happens with this Barbie, and she's really pretty. So her picture is in at the end because I thought it might make you feel better.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
did you purposely look up Barbies? Because that was the only doll I told you I'm not scared of. And you were trying to find something to scare me.
Okay. Yes and no. I don't think it would have occurred to me if you hadn't have said that Barbie was okay. And then I just became genuinely curious because I've never heard of a haunted Barbie doll. And I was like, I bet there's not. So I Googled it to see, because I was like 100% sure that it was going to be like, no, Barbie doesn't get haunted. And then I found that one and I was like, oh, there is a haunted Barbie, but it's a really nice story. So I thought this will make her feel better because this is going to be like an antidote to the scary doll stories.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that one last.
See, I was caring and compassionate. I found a good haunted Barbie.
Okay, so go back to the episode. So Sarah has made this link to dolls, and then they remember the doll from the mausoleum before because they'd talked about it being like her favorite toy or whatever, and she was buried with it. So the next scene is Dean crashing through the gates in the cemetery with the Impala to get to the doll. So back at the house, Sam has been hit with a desk that's been thrown across the room and it's pinned him in place. And Sarah's trying to help him. And then she turns and the girl is right in her face. And that was a jump scare. And I didn't care for it. Like, she's right there.
Yeah, like breathing inside of her face. Like, very much like close together. Yeah. I mean, I put my hands together in front of the camera and then I realized you guys can't see me.
So we cut to Dean and he's getting the doll out of the case. He's trying to hit it with the butt of his gun, isn't he? And then he kind of like,
that's so...
wait a minute, why don't I just shoot it?
Yeah, there's a moment where he's like, come on, Dean. And he steps back and he shoots the glass out. And then he's trying to light it, but it like will not light. And he's like, come on. No,
the lighter won't light. And the girl's getting closer and closer to Sarah with the razor. And Sam's still pinned by the desk, so he can't help her. And then we cut back to Dean, and he finally lights the doll's hair. And Sam also finally gets free, and he jumps on top of Sarah to shield her. That's a thirst trap.
That is a thirst trap. Like, the ghost is literally slicing down with the razor, and Sarah's about to be murdered, okay? And Sam dives. Like, this is a true hero dive where he's putting himself directly in front of it. So we think Sam is about to get slashed up. Like, we're just like, oh, fuck. But luckily, Dean has just managed to light it on fire. And so the ghost, like, starts burning. And that looks really gross, too. And that's pretty great. That's a good effect.
Yeah, she just sets on fire. And then she appears back in the painting as well. In the paintings in the background. She appears back in the painting, and then that's kind of the end of that scene, and then we cut to the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And the painting's being packed up again, and I was like, I hope they're not selling it again.
Yeah.
Dean says he found out why the girl had been adopted in the first place, and he says her real family was murdered in their beds. I wasn't a fan of the term real family, but there we go.
Yeah, not a fan either.
No. But they imply that she killed her, quote, real family, and then the adoptive family. And Isaiah had been trying to warn people, so that's why he was kind of like, why they think he was looking down at the girl.
Yeah, he's trying to give people clues.
Oh yeah, and because the painting in the background changed as well. That was a clue as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the guys that are packing up the painting, they ask like where it's going, and she tells them to take it outside and burn it.
And everybody freezes and looks at her like, what? What?
Like, really?
Yeah. And she's like, I'm serious, guys. Thanks. And they look at her like, oh, okay. And then they take it out back to burn it. All right. So they discuss. So basically, Sarah asks why the girl did it. And they kind of have a little conversation about it. And basically, Sam just says that some people are just born really dark. And it's just the way that people are. And he says that some people are born tortured, and when they die, their spirits are just as dark. And Dean's like, well, it's over, we move on. And Sarah says, I guess this means that you're leaving. And Dean looks from Sam to Sarah, and Sam stares at Dean until he gets it. And Dean goes, I'm gonna wait in the car, see you, Sarah. And he stands there awkwardly for a second, looking at Sam, and then he nods and walks away. Like, oh, okay. He walks off, and he's grumbling, and he's like, I'm the one that burned the doll, destroy the spirit, but don't thank me or anything.
I love that bit.
It's so good. And Sarah says, there are a million things I want to say to you, but for the life of me, I can't think of one. And Sam says, yeah, I'll miss you too. And Sarah says, there's a lesson in all of this. Sam says, what's that? And Sarah says, we all got through this in one piece. I didn't get hurt. And Sam's laughing. He says, yeah, I'm glad for that. And Sarah says, so maybe you're not cursed. Maybe you'll come back and see me. And Sam says, I will. And outside, Dean is leaning against the car, and he watches Sarah letting Sam out and close the door. And he's shaking his head, and he turns to get in the car. And inside, Sarah's leaning against the door thinking and looking sad. Like, she's like, you can tell that she's thinking he said that he was going to come back, but she doesn't really believe that he's going to come back. And she's kind of heartbroken. And then there's a knock on the door, and she opens the door, and Sam's there. And she is smiling this like megawatt smile because it's hot. Like, let's be real, it's hot. So Sam steps in and kisses her. And this is like an old Hollywood kiss, and I was here for it. I was just like, this is amazing. This is everything.
Same.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then Dean turns around and sees Sam kissing Sarah, and he smiles and he goes, that's my boy. Dean gets into the car. Sam and Sarah are literally just full on making out.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
I wrote, the kiss was hot, but Dean needs to stop staring.
I almost choked on my Coca-Cola.
Just staring at them.
It's just like, that's my boy. And then he keeps watching Sam. Like, Sam's got game. It's like, Dean, don't make it weird.
I just had one point to make at the end of this. So, you know how in Route 666, Sam had a right go at Dean for Cassie knowing that what they do? Well, now there's another person out there who knows what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think Sarah would have made a good part of the team. Like, I wish she could go with them.
Yeah, Sarah's amazing. She would have been excellent. I feel like Sarah and Cassie also would have been like, that would have been a really fun vibe.
Or spin-off, Sarah and Cassie are Sam and Dean.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Shall we play the games?
Yes. Villain, hot or not?
She's a child, so we cannot. That's no, not an option.
I just wait. Nope.
No. She's a scary child with her scary doll.
Yes. Episode scare rating.
I give it a 7. A 7.
I gave it a 9.5.
Of course you did.
I went, creepy kids, creepy dolls, paintings moving. No, thank you. Almost on par with Bloody Mary.
Yeah, it was a good creepy episode. I think that I'm only giving it a 7 because I'm not scared of haunted paintings or haunted dolls. So
yeah,
it was scary for me. It was good. There's good jump scares. There's great sets. There's good special effects and everything. But it doesn't hit my particular fears. So I was kind of like, ooh, this is spooky. It's scary. But yeah, I think it's about a 7 for me.
I think this is my second highest rated scare because Bloody Mary was a 10. And I don't know if I've given anything else. I don't think I've given anything else a 10.
No.
I might have given another 9 or 9.5. I can't remember now.
Was it Asylum?
I think this is my second. I'll have to go back and listen to the episodes. I feel like I've given something a 9, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway. Favourite quote?
Let me look for it. Oh, Sam, marry that girl.
I had that one written down as well, but I'm going with, what kind of house doesn't have salt? Low sodium freaks.
Yeah, that's a great line. That was really good.
Favorite thirst trap?
Listen, it's fucked up of me, but it's Dean slamming the shovel in to break open the grave. There's just something so sexy about that.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like aggression, but in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. It's the good, hot aggression with the muscles wriggling. It's good. I also think there's a small element of like, he's doing something forbidden and bad, but he's doing it for good reason. So there's like the bad boy element combined with the like thing. It's like the hot grave digger situation.
The hot grave digger. Okay.
That's going to end up being like an out of context thirst trap thing.
Yep. Mine was either time that Sam is shielding Sarah. Maybe probably the one where he jumps on her actually and stops the girl from getting her.
Yeah.
MVP?
Sarah? Because Sarah's the one who's like, there's real human hair on the doll. And they're like, oh, that's the remains. So really, she saves everyone because she has that knowledge.
Yeah, that was my thought process because I wrote Dean for destroying the doll and then I wrote, or actually Sarah for making the connection to the doll in the first place.
Yeah, because without her, they're just like clueless, aren't they?
Yeah. Motel decor, 10 out of 10.
I give it a 3. It offends my face.
I give it a 10 for the novelty and the fun. This is quite a long episode, so shall we let everyone go if anyone made it this far? Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at The Witches of Letters Podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.